We're going to do a show. Welcome to Inside Coverage, everybody. The how, the why, any, and everything you need to know in the National Football League here 4 days a week. And happy to be here 4 days a week with you. Thanks for listening, liking, subscribing, watching on yahoosports.tv, on the Fast Channel, on the YouTube, on the Yahoo app, however you watch the show. Hi, my name is Andrew Siciliano. I'm happy to be here with a rotating cast of my good Yahoo friends. As my dad says sometimes, Yahoo. He's not calling anyone a Yahoo. Frank Schwab, not a Yahoo. We work for Yahoo. Frank, you remember what a Yahoo is? I don't know if my dad does it ironically or if he actually doesn't know how to say the name of his email address. Either way, Frank, it's good to see you.
Great seeing you, Andrew. Good to see that you had safe travels to London and back.
Yes.
That looked like a great game, looked like a great environment as it usually does over there. And then today, before the show, the NFL does us a favor and gives us a trade. Look, I don't know that there's ever been a trade. Now, I couldn't research all of this before the show, Andrew, but a division rival trading a quarterback who was their starter like 8 days ago.
It doesn't happen.
Another divisional team in the middle of the season. It just blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind.
Okay, so let's set that up. And let's do that by also telling you that Puka Nacua is going to join the show. He'll be here in about 15 minutes. Puka's awesome. One of my favorite people. Yeah. He was pretty fun. Puka Nacua is going to join us coming up shortly. Now the news that Frank mentioned. Joe Flacco got traded to the Bengals. Listen, I said it with Charles yesterday. Anytime you think, Frank, you know what's going on, then we have a Sunday where you're like, I don't know anything anymore. This was one of those trades. Rarely am I surprised. Well, I'll take it back. We often get surprised. Sometimes you get stunned. Rarely does your jaw just drop and you go, like, what?
Right.
Like, excuse me? Now, there are instances of teams trading starting quarterbacks in the division. Like, for example, Easter weekend when Andy Reid flipped Donovan McNabb to the Washington football team, then called by a different name. But that was the offseason. This is in season. Week 1, Joe Flacco coulda, woulda, shoulda beaten the Bengals if not for a missed Andre Schmidt field goal and an extra point. I mean, the Browns dominated the Bengals. They were the better team that day, period, full stop. Today, a couple of days after Dillon, Gabriel almost leads the Browns to a victory. He's the rookie in London over the Vikings. You give Joe Flacco a new life. As I stepped back and thought about it, Frank, I don't know why you help the Bengals. I don't. Now, if you go back and you say, let's say the Browns beat the Vikings, then they're 2. They didn't. Okay, but let's say they do. They're 2-3. They're going to Pittsburgh. They have new life. The Bengals have only 2 wins. The Ravens are an absolute mess. They have only 1 win. You're like, we're in this. Now, it doesn't change anything. They're still kind of sort of in this. They can still go beat the Steelers and be part of the conversation in a stunningly mediocre division. But you're letting the Bengals kind of off the mat. You're giving them a lifeline. You're saying, hey, go mess around with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and see what you can do. I just don't know. I just don't understand why you're throwing a lifeline to a team in your division.
I will say this. So this sounds incredibly cynical, but it's almost like the Browns are like, if Joe Flacco could be our mole, we know he can't play anymore. Like Joe Flacco, look, he's had a great career, a long, very distinguished career, Super Bowl champion. He's 40 years old, and in the last 12 months, he's been benched for Anthony Richardson and Dillon Gabriel. He's just not a viable starting quarterback anymore. So I viewed it as the Browns just aren't worried about Joe Flacco in their division. That they benched him. They obviously don't think he's got. They just, because you're right. Like usually you look at something like this and you're like, why would you help the Browns? Or why would you help the Bengals? I think the Browns look at it like, we're really not helping them that much. Like, but it might come back on them. Like, who knows? Maybe Joe Flacco throw into a great group of receivers. He still has the big arm. He can still get it out there. Maybe he comes alive a little bit. I'm just not anticipating that. The other reason you do a trade like this, Andrew, is usually it's because you want to take pressure off of your starter, right? Like in some alternate universe, you're sitting here saying, Dillon Gabriel got the start, played much better than I expected, right? Last week I was very like, this is bad news. No, Dillon Gabriel looked good. Like he really was impressive. I was impressed with him. So you think, okay, that team trades the veteran backup behind him, so there's no questions about whether Dillon Gabriel ever loses his job. But the guy moving up to number 2, who we're going to talk about, he brings even more pressure to Dillon Gabriel because everybody's going to be talking about the backup now. So you're right. I do not get this from the Browns aspect. They don't gain that much. A 6 to a 5th is nothing like that. Yes, it's incremental. It's fine. Whatever. I don't view that as anything valuable in this trade. And there is the possibility that what if Joe Flacco comes alive with the Bengals? It's not out. It's not crazy. He did 2 years ago in a similar situation, joining the Browns midstream. So I don't know. I would ask you why. You don't seem to know why the Browns would do this. It was just a weird move for Cleveland to make.
A couple of things. With the draft pick, remember you traded Kenny Pickett for a 5 as well. You have your own 5, so you now have 3 5s in the 2026 draft. Hypothetically, maybe you package 2 of them on draft weekend, day number 2, and you turn 2 of those 5s into a 4. Who knows? Sure. You have a little bit of flexibility. You also have Jacksonville's number 1, which, hey, full disclosure, I was rooting for the Chiefs yesterday, and I think plenty of Browns fans were as well. But you have the 2 1s there, and you have the 3 5s. In a couple of weeks, is Geno Smith going to get benched with all those picks he's throwing? Is Kenny Pickett going to take over? And then you have the 2 guys that could have and should have been the starters, right? With the Browns through training camp, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco both starting for other teams. I'm not sure. You talked about pressure with Shedeur Sanders behind him. That's obviously going to be the next conversation here. And it's amazing how algorithms run our life, right? My first reaction was, you're helping out a team in your division. You're helping out a division rival whose quarterback is out for the season, and you're tossing them some kind of lifeline, some kind of life preserver here. The algorithm on this thing, right? We all got one of these. The algorithm that controls our lives immediately. And when I say immediately, I'm talking like within seconds that this trade got done, immediately threw the headline into my phone, Shedeur Sanders now the number 2 quarterback. And I don't mean just
That's crazy. It's crazy. When does that ever happen?
Right. I don't mean just one account. I mean account after account after account after account after account after account. Not just the Yahoo account, 100 accounts. Now, the Browns released their packet for this week, and they're in Pittsburgh to face Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers coming off a bye after their win in Dublin. And each team in its weekly release does have a depth chart. The Browns' new depth chart shows Shedeur Sanders at number 2. I want to stress right now, that is just the media release. That is just the depth chart. Kevin Stefanski will hold his standard Wednesday press conference, and he will inevitably be asked, is Shedeur Sanders number 2? I'm going to guess, and I don't have inside knowledge, but just knowing how Stefanski normally runs his pressers, I think there's a strong chance that he doesn't commit to Shedeur being number 2. That doesn't mean he isn't number 2. It just means why make a commitment to it
I'm
right
trying
now.
to blank. Honestly,
Bailey Zappi is on the roster.
That's right, Zappi. Yep,
who has started games for the Patriots.
If you elevate Bailey Zappi,
he started Week 18 last year.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi's had some moments, especially at the Patriots. But if you elevate him,
he started games in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, he sure has. Doesn't this, Andrew? Let me ask you, because you know this team better than anybody, right? I look at this as, first of all, what Charles said last week really stuck with me. That the reason Joe Flacco is a number 2 is basically to be a support system for Dillon Gabriel, to be that guy, to be in the. There's value to having a veteran around a rookie like that to deal with all these different situations. That's why I was very surprised that they traded Flacco for mostly nothing. Not just to help the Bengals, but just because I think it would have helped Gabriel more if Flacco was around.
I agree.
But why would the Browns know what's coming? They know what's coming when they trade Flacco. All of a sudden, it ignites the Shedeur Sanders conversation again, which we're all rolling our eyes about over here. But it's a thing. Like, there's no way around this. All of a sudden, he's probably your number 2. And if he's not your number 2, that's a story too. If he's behind Bailey Zappi, why would they invite this? Don't you think? Like, it just doesn't seem like Kevin Stefanski would want to deal with this. But now he has to. The first time Dillon Gabriel has a bad quarter, not even a bad game, maybe just a bad series, everybody, like you said, all the accounts that were like Shedeur's number 2, all those accounts are going to be saying Shedeur should be starting. Shedeur should be starting. It's just going to go on and on and on the rest of the season until Shedeur gets a starting job. Why do you think they would invite that? I think that's something that they would want to avoid.
I'll be honest with you, Frank, that was happening long before Dillon ever took the field. That's just the way it is. If you believe Shedeur
Fair.
Sanders should be the person or the quarterback, that you're steadfast in that. I think we agree. People are in their silos with this story, right? You're either in this camp or that, but you're not leaving that silo. This is what you believe, and you're going to stand on that belief. Dillon, you're right, did play really well. And I wish people would open up their mind to like embracing his story, like embracing the fact that this is a good kid and mature quarterback who's thrown a lot of touchdown passes and played a lot of games and
played great in the preseason.
He met the moment.
Played great in the preseason.
Absolutely. Go look at the tape in Philadelphia. He met the moment. By the way, Shedeur also played really well in his preseason opportunity when he got a chance to start week 1 on the road in Carolina. He played really well there. Not forgetting that. That's his moment to stand on as well. But let Dillon Gabriel be. Enjoy it. I thought he played well. Okay. He truly did play well. I want to go back to the what does Flacco do for the Bengals part of this conversation, because there's the Cincinnati side as well. I got a lot of texts from Bengals people. When I say Bengals people, I mean friends in my life who are Bengals fans who are scratching their head and just went like, I don't get it. Like, why? Now they know that Browning played poorly, and they know that you probably had to do something. And Charles and I spoke yesterday, like, give the ball to Mike White. Well, the Bengals released Mike White today, so that wasn't going to happen. They obviously did that with the knowledge that this Flacco thing was going to come down. I'm really concerned that the Bengals can't protect Joe Flacco, because that was the issue, certainly in Cleveland. He's 40. He can't really move much anymore. You know, there was a play a couple of weeks ago where you had a sprint right option where it almost looked like a walk right option. Joe wasn't sprinting to the right. He was walking to the right. The Browns' offensive line allowed a pressure rate of 39.8. Now, that includes last week without Flacco, through 5 weeks. 39.8. Perspective, that is the 4th worst in the NFL. By the way, the Jets are the worst at 50.8, which is just ridiculous. Anyway, so the Browns at 39.8. The Bengals are better, but like barely better. 38.1. I mean, it's really kind of the same thing. And the Bengals have allowed more sacks than the Browns. And the Bengals don't use play action, which would give a 40-year-old quarterback a little bit more time. The Bengals use play action at the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL. So yes, there's Jamar Chase, and yes, there's T. Higgins. But are you telling me, and I like Flacco, I know he still got the arm, I know he could still sling it, but are you telling me that this Bengals much maligned offensive line is going to give Flacco time to find those guys downfield? You're going to give him time against Micah Parsons this Sunday? A rested off a bye Micah Parsons, that O-line? Hey, I'm all for the fun factor here. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know that this is going to work for the Bengals.
No, I don't think it will. I just think it's a desperate move, and they probably didn't have any other options. I mean, people talk about Jameis Winston like he's
give me
some savior. Like, I guess, like, Andrew, come on, he's a 3rd stringer making $2 million for a reason. Like, Jameis Winston is not saving anybody's season. He make it more fun. I'll give you that. But you think about Joe Flacco's strengths as a passer. He's never been that dude that's just marching a team downfield, dunk it all the way down. He's loaded up and throw it 40 yards downfield. What about Jamar Chase, T. Higgins? Get them deep, throw it deep. The Bengals can't run an offense like that because they have no offensive line. Like, it just is such a mixed match of whatever. Like, this just doesn't fit together. But I don't think there are really any other great options out there. And this doesn't cost them, really. Like, it's the Bengals probably sat back and said, we could get Joe Flacco for pretty much nothing. I know there's some value in moving up around from 5th to 6th, but pretty much nothing. Why not? We just need to try something else because Browning has been so bad. So I get it from that aspect. Try something else. It didn't cost you much, but for anybody thinking this is going to save the Bengals season, no, I'd be stunned. Like, give him comeback player of the year again if he does, because it would be an amazing story of Joe Flacco at 40 years old, who was so bad that a 1-3 team benched him for a 3rd round rookie. Like, I don't know any path out here for the Bengals where we're saying, yeah, that was a shrewd move. It was just a desperation move. This is what we can do, so why not do it?
All right, before we get to Puka, let me just give you a little bit more perspective here. And this is from the great Dante at NFL Research, NFL Network's research department. And they provide this to all the teams as well. And they do invaluable work here. So if Joe Flacco were to lead the Bengals to a victory over the Packers on Sunday, he'd be the first NFL quarterback to beat a team twice, but do it with different teams in the same season since future Congressman Jack Kemp did it in 1962 when he beat the Titans twice. The Titans later became the Jets. And he did it with the Chargers and the Bills. So it hasn't been done in, 38 plus 25, 63 years.
Yeah. Different league, too.
63 years. That's how long. I mean, that is bonkers. Now, look, quarterbacks have faced the same team twice with multiple teams, like Kyle Orton did it, right? Jimmy Clausen did it. But to beat the same team with different teams, only Jack Kemp has done that. And he did it pre-merger. He did it pre-Super Bowl, friends, back in 1962. And yes, kids, for those of you who don't know, this is Super Bowl 60 coming up in Santa Clara. It's year 106 of the NFL. So when you say, oh, that team has never won a Super Bowl, there were championships handed out before they decided to name it after a child's toy, the Super Bowl. There
Sammy
were championships awarded.
Football,
yes.
Yeah. Red Grange existed.
Jim Brown.
Football, yeah.
Jim Brown's the greatest football player of all time, and Jerry Rice, I know, like an NFL top 100, I get it. But for my money, it's Jim Brown. That's his autograph right here. Okay, he played before the Super Bowl was a thing. Okay, so like to say that, well, that doesn't count, then Jim Brown doesn't count.
Then Jim Brown doesn't count. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, that's that. You know who counts? Puka Nacua counts. The man who is on pace for 176 receptions, which would also be a record, is set to join us after this. Inside coverage, everybody, on Yahoo. This guy's leading the league in receptions and in yards. More importantly, I think, for Puka Nacua here at Inside Coverage, he is leading the league in yak from the wide receiver position, which I know is something that is important to him. Puka, it's good to see you, man. How are you?
Man, life is good. We're here in week 5, and it feels like we've been playing football for probably like 20 weeks, but we're very early in the season.
Yeah, it's funny how it adds up, and then you're like, wait a minute, like, when is it? Like, what week is it? But you guys are coming off like the mini bye. It's weird. You get the Thursday, the mini bye, and then Baltimore, then stay in Baltimore, then go to London, then another bye. It's an odd stretch of the schedule. But how did you deal with that mini bye, Puka, and just decompress after what went down? That was a tough one on Thursday.
Yeah, 100%. Like just like you mentioned, I'm like, you get that mini bye, you get some time to kind of recover and enjoy some time with. I got to see my family and friends, and I didn't watch too much football this weekend. I saw UFC fights. I saw some human beings be very physical, and I was like, I think it reset me because I was like, I needed that in my life. So it was fantastic.
I mean, you're kind of unique that way. Not that other wide receivers don't like blocking. Please don't get me wrong, but it's so important, obviously, in this offense and part of your DNA. Like, what makes you happier? Catching like a 10-yard out cut for a first down, or coming in motion and like digging out a safety or a linebacker and freeing one of your running backs?
I think there's very few feelings that feel better in the game of football of motioning and being like, all right, this linebacker is trying to fit the C gap right here, and I'm right here, and I'm running right into him. Like, and then Kyron springs off, or Blake Horn runs off, and we have an 8-yard gain, and I'm like, that feels good because that guy was supposed to try to hit somebody that wasn't me, and I hit him, and then it was like, all right, now we're off, and like I'm like the gap, you feel a hole, and then now you're like, all right, this is how the game of football is supposed to be played because I'm protecting my guy, and we're moving forward.
Was it you or was it Eric Yarber, your wide receiver coach, for those that don't know, that said that you would rather be the hammer than the nail? Like, that is who you are. You want to hit people.
What I mean, that sounds like a Coach Yarb line right there. Like to be the hammer instead of the nail for sure.
All right, let's with all that in mind, let's ask it this way: how then upsetting was that fourth down for you? And did you think about it? And I don't mean you personally, but like the team. Did you think about it all weekend?
It definitely Thursday night I didn't get a lot of sleep, and especially like just like you mentioned, I'm like I pride myself in being able to have that physicality and do my part in the run game. So when we run behind me and we're not able to accomplish that, definitely it doesn't make the mini buy as fun as I thought it was going to be. But it's a learning lesson, and we're still earning the season, and it's going to provide us with the strength and the knowledge that we need to have in order to execute later in the season. So I think now that we're past Thursday and now we're on to Tuesday of the next week and we're getting ready to prepare for Baltimore, I feel a lot better about that, talking about that and being able to move forward now.
Totally. And I know you don't like talking team personal goals. We're talking team goals here, but allow me a second. Do you look at the pace, like the math, like you're on pace for? Do you ever hear that conversation?
No, my brothers, I'm sure they send stuff in the family group chat, but I never really check them out. I try to avoid those.
Okay, I like to silence the group chats as well. They're kind of annoying, especially when they have too many people. And it's like, please, like, why? Like, stop, leave me alone. Yeah. But I'll do it for you here, Puka. Michael Thomas, the Saint wide receiver, has the record, 149. That's the single season record for receptions. You are on pace for 176. Your thoughts?
That sounds like a lot. It sounds like we're moving the ball forward, and there's an opportunity to get some good blocking in there, and then I'm catching the ball. So I'm like the reward is it sounds great.
So you haven't texted Cooper Kupp, who won it in 2021, the Triple Crown, that is, and said like, "I'm coming for you."
The Coop the text I have between Cooper. Honestly, about some of the blocking things, and he's like, "Man, you're actually not as fast as I
thought." Wait a minute. He said that to you, or you've said that to him?
No. He said that to me. I'm like, some of the texts, the last couple of texts, he's like, "Yeah, so your 45-yard touchdown. There's no chance. I know you're not that fast to run 45 yards and not get caught from behind."
Man, that's rough.
I know. Dude. I was kind of like a shot. I was like, "Coop, I've been running against you the whole offseason. So either I'm slow or you're slow. I'm like, one of those things aren't adding up."
Do you like respond and like make fun of his beard or anything like that? Or
I was like, I'm not a big coffee guy, and somebody said the Hawaiian one wasn't that good. I'm like, if you're gonna have a Hawaiian coffee, it better be the best one. I'm like, so you better figure it out.
For those who don't know, Cooper Kupp and his lovely wife Anna have a coffee company. I enjoy the coffee, but yeah, talk trash, man. Take shots.
It's got to go both ways, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what have you learned from Davante Adams?
The body control and the aggressiveness at the line of scrimmage. I think the mindset and the mentality that he has at the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver is something that it's changed my perspective, and I think I have the thought process of how I want to move at the line of scrimmage. And it's been so fun to have that kind of aggressive mentality. Is something that I think our offense and our team has been adopting. And the way he moves, and you can just feel the aggressiveness. It's funny, we're watching where I'm behind him in all the drills and watching, you can feel the power in the ground when he puts his feet in the ground and doing releases. And you're like, all right, if I'm not moving like that and the people behind me aren't feeling the aggressiveness in the ground and feeling the ground shake when I put my foot in the ground, the line of scrimmage, I'm not doing it like how Tay is teaching. So it's been so fun to be able to work with him and figure some of that stuff out. And then also be like, all right, there's always room to get better because I'm learning this new stuff right now.
I've never heard anyone describe it that way. You feel the power in the ground when he moves?
Yeah, we're watching release, whether it's red zone or we're running routes and he's running an out cut. I'm like, you can feel a ground shake, whether I'm right behind him and he runs a 5-yard slant or he's running a 20-yard like out cut. And you can literally feel the ground shake and the power that he's running with. And so there's something that I'm like, I want people to feel that exact same way while I'm running routes. So it's been really fun to have that.
That's wild. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about the Ravens, because they got the doors blown off them at home last week. Obviously, everybody is hurt. I get it. Lamar's hurt. Roquan's hurt. Matabike's hurt. Everybody's hurt. So with that in mind, how do you, and I can't believe, Puka, I'm saying this, how do you not overlook the Baltimore Ravens and see this as a trap game?
I think we're coming off a loss, and obviously the quick game. So the excitement and the urgency in our building is to come out here and perform because we need to re up our energy, and we're super excited to go out there and to say, hey, we want to leave Sunday with a W on the schedule. So, but also I think the last time we were out there, we lost in. I believe it was overtime. They had a special teams touchdown to finish the game, and we're in the game. We're playing in Baltimore, and it's a tough physical game. And then you finish the game, and they're walking off, and they have a home party, and we're like, so we owe them one. And I'm excited to go back over there. And I know everybody's thinking about that and the physicality that. I know we started that game one. I remember that being one of the more favorite games I had in my rookie year because we ran duo six. It felt like 12 plays in a row where it's like, hey, we are coming to be physical. We're going to punch you in the face and we're going to run the ball. And so I'm excited for whether that comes this weekend or we're throwing the ball left and right to me at number 17. We're going to be ready for it.
Puka Nacua, good luck in Baltimore. Have fun in London as well, by the way. And appreciate you coming on, man.
Of course. Thank you.
I love Puka Nacua. Frank, he truly is one of my favorite people. And if I could pull the curtain back a little bit off air. So we recorded that earlier today, right after the Joe Flacco trade happened. So I told him, I don't think I'm talking out of school here. And his eyes bugged out like, wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, starting quarterback traded in division. Let's go to the AFC South because how about the Jaguars in that division? Last night, Frank, they rallied from down 2 scores, and on Monday Night Football in Duval with Jacksonville coming down from the top of the stadium before the game on that bungee thing that still gives me anxiety whenever I watch him do that. The Jaguars went to 4-1 for the first time since the grand old days of Maurice Jones-Drew in 2007. And there were moments in that game where I'm like, you know what? Chiefs are going to win, and we're getting the same narrative. Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy. And then the stumble bum happened, except this one wasn't planned. It wasn't called by Ben Johnson. Trevor Lawrence gets stepped on. He falls down. He falls down again. Chris Jones stands there and watches Trevor Lawrence get up and truly stumble into the end zone. And we're like, wait, excuse me? What? And then we're sitting here watching Liam Cohen run into the locker room, screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering, and who cares what he did in his introductory press conference. The Jaguars look like a playoff team. Frank, are you buying the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is the proper pronunciation, not Jaguar?
For somebody who picked the Jaguars to win the division, I should be very happy about that. I should be, I looked out. Liam Cohen was my coach of the year. But a little lukewarm, a little bit lukewarm, because I view the Jaguars as still a work in progress. I thought that it would be a little further along. I thought Trevor Lawrence would be playing better. I thought they wouldn't be making these weird mental mistakes. If Jaguars fans know, they've watched this team. 4-1 is awesome. Winning at San Francisco is awesome. Beating the Chiefs last night was awesome. But they know there's a lot to clean up. I think any honest Jaguars fan would say, yeah, this team is 4-1, and that's great, but there's still a ways to go. But I think they can get there. I really do. I think that Liam Cohen's a good coach. Like I think he's done a pretty good job to get them to where they're at. He's fixed the run game. The defense looks a lot better. A guy like Devin Lloyd has just come alive. Like he was never this player before, and all of a sudden he looks like an All-Pro, maybe even a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So, but I'll say this, Andrew, like this was such a big win for them. Maybe their biggest win in, I don't know, a decade at least, since they made that run to the AFC Championship game. When they got the ball back, 1:45 left. I think anybody's lying if they said they thought, Trevor Lawrence is going to drive him downfield. Now, if it was the other way, if Mahomes got the ball back with 1:45 left, you'd say, this game's over. He's going to do it. That's just who he is. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence didn't have that. He didn't have that on his resume where you just trust him to take that team all the way downfield for the win. That throw he made to Brian Thomas on 3rd down was, I think, the best throw of his career. Maybe somebody could correct me.
Big boy
find
throw.
A better one. An unbelievable throw. Just absolutely A+. That's the throw. Gets them in field goal range, gets them in range in the red zone. And then obviously falls down. He said he had sheer panic. He's going to throw it away. And then he gets up. He's like, wait a second, there's a lane to the end zone. That's what Trevor Lawrence needed. That's what the Jaguars needed too, to beat the Chiefs, to have Trevor Lawrence come out big in a situation like that. Now all of a sudden you're 4-1. You're feeling good. You're feeling confident. You're feeling like, yeah, the Colts are a pretty good team, but why can't we win this division? I thought it was just a massive win for the Jaguars franchise, the type of win they have not had, again, since they made that that crazy run to the AFC Championship game so many years ago.
Remember how the Patriots win on Sunday? Not a franchise-changing moment. They've won many a ring.
Yeah,
but it was like, all right, hey,
Mhm.
we believe now. Now they're in a much different position than the Jaguars are. But like, hey, we believe now. Like, we're in this because we did this. I think that was the same last night for the Jaguars. National stage, Chiefs come to town, whether they're the old Chiefs or not, I don't care. Patrick Mahomes is still out there. And they rally from down 2 scores, and they won. And they march down the field at the end, and they win. And also, and I think this is significant, on the national stage, Travis Hunter had his best game. Statistically, does it jump off the screen? No, but he had that massive catch on the deep ball where he did nearly jump off your screen. And at the end, he has 3 for 64, that 44-yard play early in the game. Probably got away with the pass interference, turning the hips of Travis Kelce, Travis on Travis, but he made a play defensively. Travis Hunter looked the part. Travis Hunter looked like that guy that you trade in the first round. You give up a future one to move up and get and put the big name on the marquee and sell all the jerseys. Did he change the game? I don't know, but he looked like the guy that played at Colorado, and I think that was significant in that moment. Consider the opposite. Consider the narrative. If the Chiefs beat him, you say, same old Jaguars. Travis Hunter, This on the heels of Quinshon Judkins having a great game in a national TV spotlight in London, and all the Browns rookies playing great. Consider what could have been the narrative today, but it wasn't. The Jaguars changed the narrative and changed the story, and I think that is truly worth something.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly think the Jaguars are still trying to figure out how to use Travis Hunter. It's been a little hit and miss with that. Yeah, because there's no playbook for it. There's no, well, this is how it's always been done with two-way players as a rookie. I know that they may watch film of the '96 Cowboys to see how Deion did it, but that's about it. Like, unless you're going back to 1981 and Roy Green, like this just doesn't happen very often. So I think that that's a challenge for the Jaguars, one they took on and one they're going to figure out. And one thing that I feel the need to mention about that Jaguars win that made it so impressive is this wasn't one of those games where the Chiefs offense is kind of terrible because it got not enough targets. Patrick Mahomes was awesome in this game. He was MVP Patrick Mahomes. I was many times in that game just shaking my head saying, this is prime Patrick Mahomes. This is as good as he's ever played, and you still beat that guy. That's what made it most impressive to me, is that you didn't just catch some Chiefs team that, early in the season when they couldn't get any yards, no running, whatever. I thought the Chiefs, other than Patrick Mahomes' pick six, obviously, a terrible mistake you don't see him make often. I thought the Chiefs played pretty well, especially offensively. I thought Mahomes was on another planet at times, looking like an MVP, and the Jaguars still beat that team. Like that again, we talk about franchise-changing moments. We might look back at that Monday night game and say, that's when it all came together for Trevor. That's when he took off. I know we've been saying that over and over, and it's Lucy in the football and all that kind of stuff. But it really was that kind of win. It was that kind of win where you say you beat the Chiefs dynasty when they were playing well, when you needed to get a touchdown with 1:45 to go. Hats off to Jacksonville. That was a heck of a win.
And a couple of quick notes here on the Chiefs offensively. Tyquan Thornton, I don't know what got into you, but wow, okay, that's the guy that was blazing fast at the combine. Like all of a sudden,
unbelievable.
He's potentially the number one weapon. He also almost tracked down Devin Lloyd, who looked like he had a piano on his back those last 50 yards. Thornton almost got him. So let's get the ball to Tyquan.
I thought he was going to punch it out. I really thought he was going to punch it out.
That's what he was going
so
for.
Tired.
Yeah.
He was so tired at the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get the ball more to Brashard Smith. Whether it's in the return game, and he had a big one called back, or whether it's just trying to get him in space. Look, line him up in the backfield, hand him the football. You know he's not the biggest guy. You need juice on that offense. You need speed on that offense. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco are two punishing runners. They're not going to run away from anybody. Find more ways to get Brashard Smith the ball, not just because I have him stashed on the bench on my fantasy roster, because I think he's a breakout player in the second half of the season. No, and I do, obviously, but you see what he could do with that speed. Same for Thornton, who actually started last night in fantasy. Got to be some decent numbers. So, yeah, there's that. Not to make it about me, Frank.
Where are you at on the Chiefs overall? Because look, I put out power rankings every Tuesday. I had the Chiefs 10th. I didn't think that much of it either. I was like, yeah, that's about where they deserve to be. They've lost
Did you
really
get
close
pushback
games.
on that?
Oh, Andrew, they've lost to the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Jaguars. Those three teams are 11-4 combined. They lost 3 close games. Yeah, we're not used to the Chiefs losing close games, but regression's hitting them. You would have thought I had the Chiefs at like number 1. Like, what are you doing with the Chiefs at number 10? This is outrageous. Like, are we really giving up on the Chiefs because they're 2-3? Like, they've lost close games. That didn't happen last year. Now it's happening. That's the rules of regression. I still think the Chiefs are going to be just fine. Like, I look at last night. It's weird that you could have a loss like that and feel better about a team. But I look at Patrick Mahomes playing Patrick Mahomes football again. Like, it was one of his best games in years, I thought, honestly. And I'm like, yeah, this Chiefs team's going to be really good. They lost, but where are you at with them? Am I crazy to think they're still a top 10 team? I didn't even think that was controversial until I read the comments.
It shouldn't be. So a couple of things. Number one, I still believe that with Patrick Mahomes, they are a top 10 team and a championship contender because, again, they have Patrick Mahomes. We spoke to Myles Garrett yesterday, massive fan of Stranger Things. Season 5 is coming up. The Vecna, the character in the Upside Down, can't be killed. At least we don't think so. That's Mahomes. You can't kill him. So as long as he's there, they're there. As long as he's their quarterback, they're part of the championship conversation. That's number one. Number two, Frank, as you know, power rankings are always wrong. No matter how much you think they're right, every one of your 32 selections is
no
wrong.
lies detected.
Okay, you are feeding trolls. It doesn't matter how you rank them. You are always wrong. I didn't rank them at NFL Network, but for a little bit there, I did the power ranking show when either Hanzus did them or Eric Edholm did them. They're always wrong. Okay. You could put the 72 Dolphins at number 1 in 1972 and you're wrong.
Get pushback.
Okay. And that was before social media. So, Frank, your power rankings are awful.
Yeah. The Chiefs are going to be fine, guys. I'm just saying. If you give up on the Chiefs, holler back at me in a couple months. We'll see how that turns out. The Chiefs ain't dead. The Chiefs are going to be just fine.
Coming up, we'll do a deeper dive into Frank's power rankings. Do we believe in the Buccaneers? Are they lucky or are they good? Or can't you be both? And why should it matter? This is Inside Coverage. It's Inside Coverage here on Yahoo. We give you the how and the why every day. Admittedly, hi, I'm Andrew, by the way. Frank Schwab is here as well as we continue the show. Admittedly, sometimes, maybe on social media, the headlines can get clickbaity and sensational. Or sometimes you turn on the TV, Frank, and they're clickbaity and sensational. Like this morning, I turn on a TV network to be named later, or maybe not named later, and the headline was, the topic bar, as we call it in the trade, was something like, are the Eagles on the verge of collapse?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And I'm like, wait, what? Hold on. The team that's won like 20 of 22 games, that one, the one that lost to a good team, they lost to a good team, a team that made the playoffs a year ago, the Denver Broncos. Are they on the verge of collapse? Frank, it's a short week for the Eagles. They have to go play the Fightin' Jackson Darts up the Turnpike, or up 95, in East Rutherford. How do you feel about, and I'm going to read here from the rundown, the Eagles' fourth quarter collapse against the Broncos?
I will say that, I've been flummoxed by the Eagles all year because unless you're a total Eagles homer, this team has not put together 4 quarters in a game yet. They just straight up haven't. Every game, you're like, oh, the Eagles have shown up, and then you're like, where did the Eagles go? They haven't completed a pass in the second half. They're getting run over by the Rams for 2.5 quarters. They're completely disappearing in the fourth quarter against the Broncos. It has been a weird season for the Eagles so far, but still the most talented roster in the NFL. Still 4-1 with 3 quality wins. Still a team that's going to run away with the NFC East. I'm sorry, Commanders. They played poorly in September last year too. Eagles are fine. It's just been a strange start to the season for them. Saquon Barkley hasn't gotten going. The passing game hasn't gotten going. There's things to worry about with Philadelphia, but not to the point where I think I don't think they're going to go 4-13. Let's put it that way. I think they're going to be just fine.
They're going to be fine, people. And if just fine means making the playoffs, but maybe losing in the playoffs and not advancing to the Super Bowl, can you handle that? I'm talking to Eagles fans. Can you handle that? I know you want a championship. I know Saquon ran for 2,000. I know it doesn't look as good as it did a year ago. I know, there might be issues here, right? And there are legitimate concerns about the offense. And maybe you have too many cooks in the kitchen here, maybe too many guys who want the football. And maybe it is difficult keeping everyone happy. And the offensive line is banged up. Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, not everything is perfect, but you're winning games. And it isn't about where you are in early October. It's where you are in early January. This was the first time the Eagles lost a game in which Jalen Hurts played the entire game since week 4 against the Buccaneers on the road in Tampa last year. Think
September.
about that.
Crazy.
Yes. Remember how after the bye last year, the sky was falling and the narrative was, is Nick Sirianni going to talk to Jalen Hurts during the bye? Are they going to have a meeting? Can they get together? Can they fix this team? Then they came out and they beat the Browns after the bye, but they honestly barely beat them. Browns should have won that game. It wasn't pretty. And then Nick Sirianni is screaming at fans, leaving the stadium or leaving the field. Well, then they turned it around. They can turn it around now. Like, they're not on the brink of collapse. It's
and even
just
turn it around from what, winning 80% of your games to winning 100. They're on pace to go 14-3. They're okay. They're a good team.
What are we actually doing here? And I realize part of this is good reporting. Like, there are good beat writers there in Philadelphia, and like you want to dig in and get the real answers as to why, with a new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, who was on the podium today in Philadelphia. Again, they have the short week, so everything is sped up. And this is a banged-up team. Saquon, general soreness, as Ian Rappaport reported yesterday. Saquon's not entirely healthy either, right? There are legitimate concerns as to why this offense is not as good, not even close, as to what it was a year ago. But you're winning games. It is not easy to win games in this league. It isn't. You lost to a really good team. You lost to a 10-win team a year ago that made the playoffs with a Super Bowl winning coach in charge who, you know what, decided to go all in and go for it on the 2-point conversion and win the game on the road.
Whew.
Yes.
Broncos are good. The Broncos are a good football team.
Yeah, the Broncos are
if you
good.
think that's a bad loss, I got news for you, buddy.
It's not a bad loss.
Yeah, not at all.
It's not a bad loss. And yes, you probably should have gotten the flag. Dallas Goedert was interfered with. You probably should have gotten the flag. But you know what? Sometimes good teams don't get the flag. Bad teams often don't get the flag. The Vikings left tackle jumped an hour and a half early on the game-winning touchdown to Jordan Addison. Okay? It happened. On the touchdown, the Jordan Mason touchdown early in the third quarter, when Mason got him into the red zone running around the left end, there was a massive hold that was missed. Justin Jefferson should have been called for taunting on that long catch down the sideline when he got up in Greg Newsom's face. By the way, I don't like the new taunting point of emphasis, but that has to be flagged. These gripes are now from me, totally unaffiliated with the team, right? This is just me. Anyway, my point is, sometimes the calls don't go your way. I just want the Eagles fans to pump their brakes just a little bit because it is not the end of the world. All right, so they're the Eagles. By the way, Frank, where are the Eagles on your power rankings?
I did have them number 3. I think there's a clear top 3. To me, anyway. It's the Lions, it's the Bills, it's the Eagles. And people are gonna be like, "Well, the Bills and Eagles just lost last week." Huh? Yeah, everybody's lost. Everybody's lost. So we're already to that point in the season.
Where are the Bucs then? Because the Bucs went into Seattle and they did the thing again.
Yeah.
Where are they?
The Buccaneers have been one of the weirdest teams to rank along with the Ravens, because I know the Ravens are going to get better, but they are what they are right now, and it's not very good. The Buccaneers, though, I have 4th, and I don't know that I believe it. And I'm somebody who was very high on the Buccaneers before the season, if you remember. But again, I got to be honest. If you go through their wins, it's like, I'm going to make a reference for you. You'll like, Andrew. This is like the 1980 Browns, where every single game is just some miracle. It is Alcoa's fantastic finishes. Unbelievable season, right? They're having one of those seasons. Their game-winning scores have come with 58 seconds left, 6 seconds left, 0 seconds left, and 0 seconds left. They have not won a game by more than 3 points this year. I believe they're the first team in NFL history to win 4 of their first 5 games by 3 or fewer points. I'm a big proponent in point differential, luck in close games evening out. It all, you can't just live on this stuff. But at the same time, the Buccaneers are beating good teams, and they're doing so. Part of the reason I'm grading on a curve a little bit with the Buccaneers is they're winning without Mike Evans. They played without Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs to start the season. They played Sunday without Bucky Irving. This is not a healthy Buccaneers team. They're going to get better, and they've already banked 4 wins. Some of those are very good. At Seattle, you kidding me? That's a good football team they just beat on the road, flying a million miles across the country. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with the Buccaneers. Are they lucky? Yes. Are they good? Yeah, they're good. Have they also banked
what's wrong
4 wins,
with being
3
both?
on the road? Right. At some point, you're going to have to play better. You're not going to live like this all year. Young Hueku is going to make that field goal in week 1. That's going to happen at some point along your season. But I think the Buccaneers can get better. This is still, that's why I was so high on them before the season. There's a team that beat the Eagles last year. They won at Detroit last year. Should have beat Kansas City in Kansas City. They go for 2 at the end of fourth quarter. They didn't. It's a team that has some skins on the wall. They got some blue chip players. They're loaded. Their roster is really good. Baker's awesome. He's going to be in the MVP conversation before long. I think the Buccaneers will get better, and they've already banked these wins. That's what's a good part about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with being lucky. Why is that a negative? You could be lucky and good teams make your own luck. I mean, we've said that 1,000 times.
That's true too. Baker Mayfield's making these plays. Yeah. Like it's not like the fumble if by the Arizona Cardinals just happens to fall into the end zone in Tyler Lockett's arms. Like no, Baker's making plays. He's been awesome this year.
He has. And Frank, good for you, Frank, by the way, pulling out the 1980 Browns reference. For those who do not know, the 1980 Browns were known as the Cardiac Kids. Sure, we can get into it. The Cardiac Kids, and they won all these games at the very last second. They made the playoffs and then lost a home playoff game on a freezing cold day on a play called Red Right 88 when Brian Sipe, who was the NFL MVP that year, a diminutive quarterback hailing from San Diego, California, playing at a cold weather town, marched them down the field and threw a pick in the end zone when you didn't really have to throw the ball. You could have just run the ball. I'm too young to remember this. I remember my dad wearing a Cardiac Kids t-shirt around the house. He got picked in the end zone on a play. The play call was Red Right 88. It was intended for future Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome. Yep. The Raiders also, like, their DBs, were like coated in stickum back in 1980.
Stickum, yeah. If you ever look at some old pictures of Lester Hayes, I love them.
They're dripping in stickum.
That's great.
And again, we're aging ourselves. For those who don't know what stickum is, kids, do you ever use rubber cement in school? Like anybody? Is that still a thing, or has that been banned now because of fumes? I don't know. But rubber cement used to be something you do your art projects with. And that's basically what stickum was. Now, today, the gloves that these guys wear,
it's not much different.
They may as well be covered with stickum. Right. The technology has advanced to the point where you could do these one-handed catches, and it's also in vogue, and so kids practice them when they're younger. But the Raiders were covered in stickum, like covered in rubber cement. Like they couldn't hug it out after big plays because they would stick to each other. They couldn't
just have to. They're inactive for the rest of the game. Why Lester Hayes is stuck to somebody? Yeah,
right.
Lester Hayes, one of my favorite players of all time. By the way, he was awesome. God, he was great. Bring back memories. I love it.
He's great. All right, let's get to the fines here. Which one you want to do first? Let's do the Jonathan Gannon one because we spent a lot of time talking about this yesterday. Since we started recording this show, Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, has been fined $100,000 for getting in the face and making contact with his running back, Amari DiMercato, who seemingly put the game away and then dropped the ball before he crossed the goal line, or that's what the call was. And Gannon lost it so much that he got in DiMercato's face. The clip went viral. Gannon apologized yesterday to the player and to the team and said he woke up first thing Monday morning and knew that he was wrong and he felt horrible about it and said, that's not who I am. So 2 things. Frank, I made the point yesterday And tip of the cap to Dominique Foxworth, who did the same thing on ESPN today. And Dominique and I were texting about it. I'm like, dude, I'm totally with you. DeMarcado crossed the goal line. That shouldn't have been a fumble. Yeah, he dropped
so
the
too.
ball.
I really did.
Freeze frame it. Freeze frame it. If it was called a touchdown on the field, you can't overturn it without totally conclusive evidence. And he crossed the plane to the goal. It should have been a touchdown, number one. Number two, Jonathan Gannon was wrong. And, this ain't the Earl Bruce days. This ain't the Vince Lombardi day. Like, you can't get up in a kid's face like that, a player's face like that. I call him a kid. He's a young player. He's a grown man. You can't get up in his face like that. You could scream. You could yell. I think we're all for hard coaching. Don't call me like some soft Zen, Gen Z. I'm not that person. I'm all for hard coaching. But making contact like that, Gannon knew he crossed the line. You can't do it. So I'm okay with this fine. I truly am.
I am too. I think Gannon did the right thing on Monday. Like you said, he knew he was wrong. Apologized to the player. Nobody feels worse than DeMarcado. Like nobody. Like you don't want to do that. He just screwed up. Like he just made a terrible mistake. He didn't mean to do that. Obviously, nobody feels worse than him. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to be shown up. It was a terrible look for Jonathan Gannon, but he understood that. And I'm willing to get. Look, he hasn't been that guy. I don't know of him as that guy. Like I haven't heard of him as that guy. He just had a bad moment in the heat of a battle. He goes up. He overreacts to the moment. But he apologized. Hopefully, DeMarcado's okay with that apology. Hopefully, the teams are good with that apology. I'm not going to sit here and say that defines who Jonathan Gannon is or anything. It's just a bad moment, a bad look. The fine was totally reasonable at that point. Like you said, Bobby Knight ain't around anymore. Like that's not how anybody should be dealing with anybody on any level as a coach. Yes, hard coaching, good. That's great. There are guys who are very, very strict and demanding, but bullying, getting in a guy's face, physical contact, like that's just not part of the realm anymore and doesn't need to be part of the realm anymore. Some of the best coaches, Tony Dungy ain't doing that. He's a Hall of Famer. You don't need to be that guy anymore. And some of the best coaches in the NFL, Andy Reid, I don't think I've ever seen Andy Reid really raise his voice very often. Him and Kelsey will get into it. Him and Kelsey
that's what we're going to say. Yeah.
But I think
Charles
that's a relationship.
I think like they've shoved each other in the last year.
Right. But I think that's a relationship, and that's different. I think that both men have so much respect for each other that they're okay with that, and that's a difference. But to my main point, like I think a lot of the best coaches in the NFL are very calm, very cerebral. Sean McVay's not doing that. Kyle Shanahan's a good example of a guy.
They both
he will get on somebody. Oh yeah, both of them. But I wouldn't see them belittling a player like that in a way like that. So I think ultimately Gannon, yes, a mistake. He's owned up to his mistake. Let's move on. I'm not going to hold that against Gannon the rest of his career or anything.
I saw some reaction Monday. Oh, cut DeMarcado. Guys, you realize he's their third running back. The other two are injured.
Yeah, right.
Go look around the league. The Chargers are down two backs. Plenty of teams have running back injuries. Like, they don't grow on trees. So they ain't cutting them. They need him. Okay? They need him, and they need him badly. And that touchdown run should have sealed the victory. The other fine, and this one's interesting, reportedly, Jerry Jones fined $250,000, $250,000 for giving the bird, the finger. Yes, Goose, I know, the finger, to fans at the game at MetLife Stadium Sunday from his suite. What's fascinating here is that Jerry Jones says that it was inadvertent on my part.
Come on, Jerry.
It was after a touchdown. He meant to give a thumbs up, and he accidentally flicked off the fans. Frank, can you imagine, catching your kids flicking someone off, and they go, it was accidental. I meant to do this, and I really did that. It was accidental.
Yeah, that ain't gonna fly.
Really?
Yeah, that ain't gonna fly for anybody. We know what you were trying to do, Jerry.
How is it accidental?
Were you? Yeah, right. My middle finger got stuck. Come on. No. What are we doing here, Jerry? Hey, whatever excuse he wants to give. I usually complain about the NFL over-fining everybody. Like, they're fining a lot of money to a lot of guys for stuff that really you should be taking $20,000 out of their bank account for. Maybe it shouldn't matter that Jerry Jones could afford $250,000, but whatever. Jerry Jones finds that in his couch. He's like, here you go, Roger. Whatever. I'm not going to miss that $250,000. Also, I do think it is, we do need to be a little serious and say, owners need to be held to a higher standard. Like, it's just when David Tepper threw the drink on the fan. You can't do that. Totally. You're an owner. Like, you are at a higher level, anybody except maybe the commissioner, like, and maybe some of the star players, but owners should be they should be flipping off. By the way, use Flick. I use Flip. I don't know. That's maybe different parts of the country. Maybe Wisconsin is Flip and Ohio is Flick. I don't know. But either way, Jerry Jones can't be doing that. He knows he can't be doing that. $250,000 is excessive, but you're Jerry Jones. You cannot be doing that to fans, even though I found it kind of humorous.
I would have loved it if he went full Maverick and Goose and said that he was keeping up foreign relations because he happened upon a MiG-28 in a 4G dive. And he was inverted at a distance of about 2 meters, 1.5 meters. There's a picture of it too. If you want, you took a picture. Yeah. Like with a Polaroid, there's a great Polaroid of it. I would have loved if he had just leaned in and then said, it was classified. It was classified, but he didn't. He had the opportunity to do it, but he didn't. But he did say it was inadvertent, which is the best. The dog ate my homework of all time. Of all time. It's one thing like if you sent somebody the middle finger emoji in a text accidentally when you meant to send the thumbs up emoji. But then, if you have the new iOS,
I'll be waiting for you to do that.
You
telling me you're going to do that to me, Andrew? Is that what?
No.
You're
going
to get the middle finger emoji, and you're going to be like,
I
meant to do it. I thought the show was good, actually. Oh, yeah, that was inadvertent.
Hold on.
I didn't mean that.
Frank.
I'll be waiting. I'll be worried about this.
I'll do. Here we go. I'm texting. I have to hold search emoji middle. There it is. Oh no. Look. It's one thing if you accidentally texted it to somebody.
Yeah, he did it.
Wow, yeah.
Just own it. Just own it. You're Jerry Jones. What are they going to do to you? Just say, yeah, whatever. We got the win. I'll pay the $250,000, Raj. I'm good. I'll just do I'll do another Netflix documentary next month and make that money back. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. This was fun today, Frank. Loved it. Puka Nacua, fun as well. You want to do it again tomorrow?
Yeah, why not? The NFL season's going. We got stuff to talk. Maybe some other team will trade its quarterback within the division tomorrow. Who knows? Like Mac Jones will go to the Rams or something. We'll get crazy.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Odafe Owe. We had a trade. Odafe Owe going from the Ravens to the Chargers for Alohi Gilman. Odafe for Alohi. That's a cool trade. A former first-round pick of the Ravens going to Joe Ortiz, right? So familiarity there from the Chargers GM, used to be in Baltimore, so that's a deal. Not nearly as exciting as Joe Flacco, who's now a Bengal. Like, wrap your head around that. That's Frank Schwab. I'm Andrew Siciliano. We're here 4 days a week. Thanks for watching Inside Coverage on Yahoo. So long, everybody.